Spring has arrived, and it's time to set up our gravity-fed watering system on this episode of DH Prepping.
This is Desert Homestead Prepping. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notification.
Thanks for tuning back in to Desert Homestead Prepping. We're back at it again. Spring has sprung, and we're excited to be back out here. Sorry about not loading any content over the last month or so. We've had other things going on back at home, and work has been demanding. So we haven't been able to get back out here as soon as I would have liked to have. I think in the future, I'm just going to have to include you guys in on some of the projects that I have going on at home. Probably be interested in some of those things, and might as well show you what's going on in our lives back in town, back in civilization. So anyway, now that spring has come and doesn't look like we're going to get any freezing temperatures for the rest of the season, so it's time to get the watering system set up. So we have a watering system that's set up right here in the background. These totes are set up with tubes underneath the ground that'll go to our fruit trees. And we have a similar thing over here for our shade trees. And, we also had it set up for the garden that would water the garden last year. So we got to get all that going. The way that we're doing this is it's all a gravity-fed watering system. You have to have a good timer that'll work for a gravity-fed system. I figured this out by trial and error, because the water timers that you will find on the internet and in your big box stores like Walmart and Target, those require pressure in order to open the valve. So they have a pressure activated solenoid, and you have to have a minimum of I believe 30 psi for that valve to open. And with a gravity fed system with barrels or with totes, you don't get that kind of pressure. And so I wasted money on timers that just wouldn't work. So I had to scour the internet to find something that would work, and I came across these little guys, and it needed to be more than just a timer that would work with a gravity fed system. It also needed to have a little solar panel on there, because I didn't want to worry about the batteries dying if I was not able to get out here for an extended period of time. And so I came across this little unit here that I'm pretty happy with. It's a little pricey. I think it was like $60, and you can find these on Amazon, and I think you can get them on Walmart.com and a few other places. So it's called a rain barrel timer. And this is what it looks like. And it's pretty simple. It's got this cap that keeps the controls sealed from the weather. It's got a solar panel, and here's where the batteries go. You put your rechargeable batteries in there. You can put normal batteries in there as well. So this actually has a ball valve in here. So when it actually goes to turn on the water, it will actually turn this unit that will open that valve. And this has worked out really well for us. I've bought quite a few of them, and we have like 4 of them, and we're gonna buy a couple more just so we have extra, because they will wear out at times. I did have one where the gears inside there had finally worn out after years of use. So good to have extras on hand. But yeah, so we'll take you along, show you the process of how we get this all set up for the season. I have to blow out all the little tubes that go to each of the trees because little critters might crawl in there and ants and dust and all that. We just want to make sure that they're all clear and there's no obstruction in there. So we'll get at it and we'll get this all set up. All right, so we'll come over here. Here's my little water junction box. It's just a paint can that I have cut some holes in and buried in the ground. And so just kind of pry the lid off here. And inside, I have a hose that I buried in the ground that goes right along here and goes right to the tote. And then that goes off to this manifold system for each of these tubes. So I decided I'm going to do this a little bit different this time. I just remembered that I got this air compressor. This is a 12-volt air compressor. So instead of using the bike pump and the little tubes unhooking each one, I'm just going to hook this air compressor up to the main hose, and we'll just plug off each end so the full pressure will go through the one tube, and then we'll go to the next one, and we'll blow them out that way. I think that's going to be a lot easier and to get it all taken care of. So yeah, I'm pretty happy about this little air compressor. It's pretty cool. Works really good for blowing out all the water lines in the trailer to winterize it, and pretty handy to have. Works pretty good. I need to get a tank for this though. It would work a lot better that way. See how it's doing. Yeah, you barely see it. See it bubbling, pushing that air out, water. Little tube. Get these hooked up. I had to splice a new hose onto here. This piece broke off. This is a cheap plastic piece, but it's okay. We got it all patched up and ready. So I have this set up to be able to connect both of the tanks. Now what I found is it is very important to be able to have the water timer set up so that it's facing just right. So you have to have it like this. And the only way that I was able to get it to work was with one of these Y connections so that I can actually put it on here like this. Got a connection. And then I could put it just like that. So it's got to be facing up for the solar panel to be facing the sun. Another cool feature about these water timers is it has this little sensor here, so that if it rains, it will sense those droplets and it will delay watering for a full day. And that way you're not wasting water, because I mean, if it rains, then I don't need this to go off. So I thought that was pretty cool. So now I got this. I just put it in right here and make it tight. And then it hooks right on to this other tank. So I'm gonna have to fill these tanks from the well. I was hoping it was gonna rain, but it just doesn't look like it's gonna rain. And we'll have to get them topped off to get going. All right, I'll bring the hose over here. We'll get some water in, and we'll see how it does. So while we're letting those other tanks fill up, Abby decided to join me, and we're gonna work on this other watering system right here. This one is not set up to catch any rainwater, but this tote lasts quite a while, and it's set up on the shade trees. As you can see, this tree right here, and a couple other ones. These are Chinese elms. They're nearly unkillable. I mean, they will withstand all kinds of harsh climates and everything. I mean, these are weed trees back in town that people hate, but they grow huge and pretty fast and very resilient, perfect for what we need out here. So if this tank does run out of water, I'm not so much worried, because these trees will still do okay. The fruit trees definitely need to have regular water. They won't survive the desert climate without having the water they need. So right here is the manifold that goes to the tube. So we're gonna go ahead and blow out all these tubes as well. So I just have this all covered up for the winter, and I blow this out in the winter as well to get all the water out of it so nothing freezes. So we'll get that air hose hooked up to this, and we'll start blowing out these lines. Sound fun? Sure. Okay, go ahead and turn on the air pump, the air compressor. It's on the back, right over here. See that thing? Push it. Yep, push it. That's it. That's our air compressor. Okay, let's go see. Here's our hose hooked in. Let's see if it's blowing out of the tube over here. This is the one we got open. Right there. Okay. Let's go check the other one. Take the nail out. Yeah. It's the leftover water that's underground. Well, it's Pretty good. Now let's go check our other tree. Let's go to this one over here. Yeah. Can you hear it? Let's go check our other tree. This is our experimental catappa tree. I think it's a top tree. Yeah, it's easier to see. This one is just barely started sprouting down here. It hasn't even started up here. Pretty good. So I think they're all nice and clear. You think? Okay. And we got a pretty good level in these tanks. Now these tanks, I really need to cover them. We're planning to come back and try to put like a nice, wood covering around it so that it, is shaded. You have these open in the sun, start to get algae in them and moss, and that'll plug up all your lines and everything, and it's just not good. So we'll have to get them covered. Probably going to try and spray paint them black and cover them to double protect it. So yeah, that looks like enough water. We're gonna shut off the water and we're gonna see how it. Here we are. We're gonna give this a try. Go ahead and pop that cap open. It's a little stiff. And turn that knob just to all the way to on. There we go. Okay, it should be filling up with water. I've got a little leak on my patch here. Let's just tighten that up. Get that all filled up better. Let's go see how it looks coming on all the trees, Abby. So it's gonna take a minute for it to get to them. So we'll give it a second. Okay. Yep. That one's coming out pretty good. Oh yeah, coming out pretty good. What we got to do is unhook our hose that we had the air hooked up to. Okay. Well, we flushed out the tank, got whatever sediment was in there, at least as much as we could get out. While I was doing that, I lost my helper. I got bored and ran off on the 4-wheeler. So anyway, we'll flip on the timer and see how it does. All right, let's see. Water is coming out. There goes kids. Okay. So anyway, yeah, it looks like it's coming out really nice and good. Let's see, let's go check the other one. Make sure we got a good flow. good. So with the distance from where the water starts to some of these other trees, this one's uphill a bit, but this other one over here is downhill and really too close. So I actually had to put a nail in there to hold back the water because most of it wants to go to that tree. Let's take a look over here. Oh, it's good. Good flow. See over here. The one with the nail in it, which I leave that in there because it gets a good flow over here. We'll just set these up. Since it's early in the season, we'll probably have this set up only do like 20 minutes every 2 days. And then as time goes by, we'll turn it up so that maybe it's a half hour, or turn it up so it's an hour every other day or so. While I'm over here, probably let you take a look at the supply pile. Took some time to get it organized and straightened up. I mean, it still looks like a bunch of junk, but at least it's organized junk. You know, snowmobiles. And here's all the wood we have. And then, of course, in the shed is all the good wood. It's not all warped. It hasn't been out in the weather. And yeah, looking a lot better, much more organized. My wife is very happy. All right, so looks like the watering system is set. We'll just let this tote get filled up and get the timer set. I like to set the timers around 9 o'clock at night because that's the prime time to really be watering. It's when the sun's gone down, because then it gives those trees so much more time to be able to soak in the water overnight. So we'll set that later on tonight around 9 o'clock, and we'll have a few days just to double check and make sure that everything's working right. And you know, I'll get going, cleaning up all my hoses and everything all kind of organized. And we're excited for another year of watering the trees, another year to see how much bigger they get. And you know, of course, we'll keep you posted and let you see the progress as we move on. And so that's it for today. Tomorrow we're going to really get focused on the greenhouse. Continuing with the greenhouse, see how far we can get there. You guys take care. God bless.